I was good. I'm representing for HipHopSince1987.com. My name is Digital Crates, but most people just call me Crates. And I'm here with an awesome young producer out of Southern California. I got TrillBans in the building. How you doing today, my G?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm excited for what this interview is going to bring, I appreciate the opportunity, really.
Yeah, I hope more than anything, it just kind of gives, some more eyes and some more ears into what you're doing and the music that you're making. Producers, I think, are like artists, beat makers and producers. We're really like painting pictures and building houses, so to speak, for these artists to move into and for them to be displayed on. You're definitely a young house builder, image painter. Like you have a really a heavy sound too, like not just a good beat maker and producer, but you're a really good engineer, mixing and mastering. I know you do a little bit of everything, but before we get into it, for the people that don't know you yet, maybe you could just tell them your name and just where you're from, and then maybe follow up with like how you got kind of into music in the first place.
Now, of course, of course. So first things first, my name is TrillBans, 19-year-old Billboard #1 producer for San Diego, California. I worked with artists such as Lil Durk, Young Thug, Hot Boy, Bayface Ray, and the list goes on and on.
Mm.
I got into making music when I was like 16, and I quit soccer, and I was like, you know what? What's one thing I can't live without? And the one thing I can't live without, and I do every day, is listen to music. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to do it. And I started as a rapper, it didn't work out. I started as an engineer, or went to engineering, and it wasn't, my cup of tea. I still do it nowadays, and I have it as a side gig. But now, I just the next step was try beats, and I tried
Yeah.
beats, and I fell in love with the art, and I believe that that's when I started when I was 16.
That's crazy. And in less than 3 years, you've really climbed up the ladder. It's not easy. You know what I mean? I've been doing it for over 20 years, and I know that the route to getting a placement, to getting your beat on a big name artist project, it's not just like cooking up with the homies. Like it's the music, but it's also the business. And like what as a 16-year-old like drew you to that, to wanting to get involved in such like a cutthroat, interesting world of business?
I believe it was just like hearing tags left and right on songs on
Mm,
the radio. And I was just always like curious, like who is this person? Who is this
yeah,
Metro Boomin? Who is this Sunday Digital? Who is this Murder Beats? And I just remember I was watching the Genius Deconstructed in high school and like on lunch, and I was like, whoa, these people make the beat. They
yeah,
create the sound. They create this viral sensation that the rapper comes into the house and builds.
yeah.
But these people build in the first place. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to be able to make that viral sensation that people are going to listen to in the
Yeah.
radio, when they go to stores, stuff like that. So I think it was those tags that just came left and right when I was like just curious to find out who these people
Yeah.
were.
Putting the tag on the beat is kind of like putting the signature on a painting. Maybe we could like talk about just really quickly, where did the name Trill Bands come from, and how did you come up with your tag that you put on your beats?
So the name Trill Bands came, I believe I was 15. I was going through a breakup, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start making music. I'm gonna do this, that. And basically I was with my friend, and we are posted up outside like my middle school, and we're just talking. We're like, let's get into music, and we're like getting ready and stuff. And basically my friend was like, we need names. And I was like, dang,
Mm,
you're right, we got to make some names. So
yeah.
all I remember is that the first thing I was thinking of is like that Post Malone auto generator story of how he created his name.
Hmm.
And I kind of incorporated that like to myself. And what I did is I just went on SoundCloud and I chose one rapper name and another rapper's last name. And the first liked songs that I had was Trill Sammy and then Young Bands.
Yeah.
So I took the Trill, I took the bands, combined them together. And once I said Trill Bands, my friend was like, whoa,
Yeah, that's
that's
a good
hard.
one. That's a good John. And those two artists you mentioned are awesome. Really, really, really good artists. Like underrated, both of them, especially Young Bands. I think he got really got a fire sound. Like that's crazy. I never would have guessed that you did like a rap generator name. Like that's hilarious. I could picture myself wearing a T-shirt that says Trill Bands on it. Because it's like, because it's like it's catchy and it's not like necessarily like like I could picture someone walking up to me and being like, "Oh, well, what's Trill Bands?" And it's just like definitely a solid name, man. And I want to salute you for that. Going back into like your early era of starting to make music, like who inspired you? I know you mentioned Metro Boomin, Sunny Digital, some of those guys, but who else kind of inspired you to start, putting some drums and some melodies together?
I'll be honest with you, I come from like like a family line of people trying to get into music. My whole family's Mexican, so I have people that like some uncles that have been in bands and stuff, bandas. When I was like talking to my father, I knew that like he like tried making music early in his day. So I feel like that like blood, that music in my blood was
Yeah, it was
like
already
there.
there. Yeah, it was already
It was
there.
already there. And then I think Kanye, bro. Kanye is just one
Yeah,
like I just remember being 8 listening to Heartless, you know, and I'm like, you
yeah,
know what, like how is he making these crazy ass beats, you know? And
yeah,
I just felt like to a certain extent, I just wanted to try it for myself, you know.
yeah. Software really revolutionized and made it so that not that anyone could start making beats, but like, anyone could start learning. And
Mhm.
for you, maybe you could talk about your early stage of production and how you began to learn and grow and go from a beginner to where you're at now so quickly.
100%. I believe that, you know, now with like technology and the internet, I feel like you can learn anything, you know. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I learned everything about making beats just YouTube and you know
Mm-hmm.
articles and literally I just YouTube everything. And it's just one of those things where I remember I was like, what program does everybody use? And I saw Genius Deconstructed. Oh, I use FL Studio. I use FL
Yeah.
Studio. So I was like, you know what? Let me download it on my mom's computer and see what I could do. And at one point I was like, you know what? I could try to make beats. So then I recycled bottles for a minute and then it got my own computer, right? And
Yeah.
from there I downloaded FL Studio and it was this like HP Latitude, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
super big hunky computer. But I just remember just FL Studio watching YouTube videos and just
Yeah.
like downloading drum kits off of Reddit and
Yep.
just like trying to make a beat, you know?
Yeah. Shout out to our backslash drum kits. Shout out to Reddit. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah,
no, for real.
shout out to Reddit. I equivalent to people who make beats. It's like almost like playing video games. It's technical, it's skilled, but it's also creative. I mean, you could literally go left, you could go right, you could go up, you could go down musically, so to speak. Do you have any history in playing video games, or is beats your video game?
I'm be honest with you, I've been playing video games all my life. You know, I remember the first time like I woke like I don't know, the first memory I have, like the earliest memory is just like with the Xbox, you know, the original Xbox
Yeah.
playing the first Halo. So I've been playing
Mhm.
video games and it's funny you mentioned that because I always like tell my friends like they tell me you want to play FIFA. I'm like, bro, I'm already making beats, you know. I just told
Yeah.
like I'm more like I don't like I have a PS4 and I don't even play video games because it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go make a beat, you know. It's just funner
Yeah,
that way
that
to
it's
me.
that it is fun. A lot of games have a timer, especially sports games. You're against the clock. So I'm starting now with beat making to get into speed runs and making beats as fast as like how fast can I cook up 10 beats, 20 beats? Do you ever give yourself challenges like that, or do you just create kind of like without any restriction?
Well, in all honesty, I actually like every time I make a beat, I set a timer for 15 minutes.
Oh
And
wow.
that's like my little time frame to really make sure that I'm not doing too much and
Yeah.
to realize that hey, if I don't have a good idea or don't have like a good foundation for the beat after those 15 minutes, I just start a new one. Cause I just
Yeah.
remember this one time, um, I created this beat. It took me like 2 hours, right? And like the full beat, vocal chops, everything. And I swear this beat was gonna take me out the hood, like the hood. You know what I mean? It's gonna take me platinum, the whole ordeal, right? I was like, this the beat, you know, this the beat. And I pulled up on Hot Boy. I went to Miami, pulled up on Hot Boy, and I played him the beat. And then he was like, skip.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, whoa, I took 2 hours. This beat was gonna take me everywhere.
Yeah.
And he skipped it. And I played the next beat. And I kid you not, I took 10 minutes on this beat, tops.
Yeah.
10 minutes tops, even less. And he was like, you know what? I want that one. Send it to me right now.
Yeah.
And that opened my, I was like, what the what?
So even if the beat's amazing, it just might not be for that particular artist. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like don't ever get down on that, because like if it's a good beat, it will always find its way. If you believe in it, you love it, somebody else will. Like there's no doubt about it. And like with music, it's subjective. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has an opinion, but it's you're the one that's creating it. So you got to kind of master your destiny. You have such a particular sound. I don't know if that's something you're going to get into, like A&R, executive production, signing artists, management. Like, is any of that in your future?
In all honesty, I believe like the end goal for me is, you know, have my own record label, my own plugins,
Mm,
my own studio, you know, my Trill is gonna be everywhere. Trill ashtrays, you know, like the whole
yeah,
branding, you know what I mean? I want that brand to be
yeah,
big, you know, and I want my own label.
yeah.
And I believe I want to be able to have this label to give opportunities to people, you know, and be able
Mm,
to, you know, go up together, but have that Trill name right there representing like the whole brand and everything. So I think that is the end goal. And I know one part that like once I like finish my days of producing, I want to be that record producer, like, you know,
Yeah.
the Taz Taylor, the Dr. Dre, you know, I just sit in the back, or the DJ Khaled, you know, I want to be able
Yeah.
to drop my own tapes with the artists I work with, you know, and I believe that's the goal. But I know right now I'm still in the very, very early stages where I got
Yeah.
to build that foundation up to it. But, you know, that is the end goal of mine, you know, the whole ordeal, to be honest.
Yeah, so you're up on BeatStars. People could look you up and check out some of your production online. They can shop with you right now. But for people who haven't shopped with you, for people who haven't heard your sound, how would you describe it? Like, how would you describe your music and your art to people who haven't heard it yet?
I think the best way I could really describe like my beats is, you know, in all honesty, I'm not the type to be like I have my very like unique sound or stuff like that. But the only thing I can say is you're gonna get a TrillBans beat. You know, if
Yeah.
you come to me, you're gonna get a beat made by me.
Yep.
Nobody else could ever make a beat like TrillBans do. You know, and not saying like I have a unique sound or anything, but I just know that if you cop a beat from me, you buy a beat from me, or you want anything from me, it's gonna be from TrillBans, and that's a TrillBans beat right there. That's gonna have that tag, and that's gonna have, I guess, the certain sound that I have. But in all honesty, it's just you're gonna get a beat that I created. You know, and I
Yeah.
believe that's like the one thing that I'm proud of to say, you know, to be able to say that if you want to beat from TrillBans, you can come to me, you know.
You
You
know,
can't get a TrillBans beat from anybody else, you know.
I listened to a bunch of your work. I know you got drill beats, grind beats, you got up tempo Midwest beats, you got some Cali bops, you got some down south. You have a little bit of everything, but there's definitely a signature sound. I'd almost venture to say, like the way that you kind of mix your low mid end and the way your drums ride out over the melodies is kind of like your signature. But in your words, like what separates you from other producers that are using like these same type beats, if you will?
I think the one thing that I really like have pride in is when I add my melodic like stuff to any beat that I do, you know. So like in even in the darkest and grimiest of beats, like the computer murders that I did for Lil Durk, I believe that the best thing that I really like doing and the thing I love doing is adding counter melodies that are melodic in a sense and adding them there, even though it's not a melodic thing. Like Computer Murders, I did like certain pluck in the background that I like plays throughout the beat, and I'm just like, I loved it. I love it because that's like my little thing that I like doing. That those little melodic instruments that make you low key want to sing, but it's a grimy beat, you know. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what separates me. That melodic component that I add in everything and anything I do.
For you, like what's some of your production process like other than setting the 15-minute timer? What's some like other like rituals that are part of your process?
I do have my own drum kit, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a lot of recycled sounds. But I've created a couple sounds just making these beats throughout like time and stuff. That I believe that I have a couple sounds that I like going to that I created just with reverb and stuff. I make sure that when I make the beats, I have like a little EQ at the end on the master
Yep.
channel, and I boost the high end.
Hmm.
Because for my homie Almighty Nate really taught me how to make like hard beats and stuff. But that like little like increase of boost at the top end just makes it a lot more like in my opinion and the homie's opinion, crispier.
Yeah,
And I
crispy.
feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it feels like a little crispier. So I'm like, you know what? I like doing it. And also just the only thing I make sure is when I create these beats, when I approach a beat, a hard beat, a dark beat, a melodic beat, whatever it may be, I try to make sure that the melodic components combine together in a fuller way. And not a lot of producers think about it like this, but it's like if I have a piano chord that takes up the middle spectrum of the EQ, right? The middle spectrum of the
Hmm.
sound, then the top line melody has to be on top of it. It can't
Right.
stay in it or else it's going to be muddy. And if you add a bass, make sure the bass is deep enough in the lower end
Yeah.
of the frequencies in order to make a complete full melody. And I barely started learning this when I started really making quality samples and people were teaching me and I
Yeah.
was learning on YouTube videos. But I believe that aspect is, and then when you add the drums, you pan off to the side. I like panning my hats to the left.
Hmm.
I like doing my open hats to the right. And I believe panning, making sure like the whole sound spectrum of a beat sounds good and making
Yeah.
sure you make a complete beat instead of just, rushing in and making a
Yeah.
quick 5-minute beat. When I do make those 15-minute beats, I make sure that I make a complete beat that's ready for an artist to hop on.
At the end of the day, you want to create something that's perfect for the artist to get on, but you also want to leave room so that they can do what they do with their voice. So it definitely with EQ and panning, everything you're doing, you're well on the right track. It's like you got to leave room, you got to have balance. What about like personal rituals?
Actually do I have a couple. I like closing, actually leaving the blinds open sometimes at sunlight, but I usually only cook up in the early morning
Mm,
or late at night or at night
yeah.
or like 7 on. Just something about the dark room, my LED lights. I just got my Billboard plaque for Babyface Ray, so I usually
Yes,
look at
sir.
it and let the let the LED lights shine on it. So like to be honest, either late at night, early morning, never in the middle of the day. I feel like cooking up in the middle of the day is just weird for me. I like cooking up late, because nobody's up. I'm focused. I'm locked in. I'm
Hmm.
all dark. It's all alone, but I'm really like invested in what I'm doing. When there's
Yeah,
nothing else like there, and also like I like little things in my room that like spice it up. I have like a plant to the
yeah.
right of me. I have a couple
Yep,
plants, and I make sure that every time like I'm like getting ready for a cook up session, I'm about to cook up for a couple hours or whatever. I eat good, so
yep,
I make sure I eat right before something so like I could
yeah.
at least and I have my waters and stuff. But like yeah, to be honest, the LED lights and really just making sure I cook up. Like I really like cooking up late at night. That's like my bread
Yeah.
and butter. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with that. I think,
Mhm.
if you can function on the late night and the early morning, you're good as gold. You're good as gold. So I want to talk about more about some of your other stuff outside of music. You're literally on everything in terms of social media. You're literally on everything, even on Twitch. You're really active on Genius, on BeatStars. Like maybe you could talk about how you balance all that. Like how do you balance all your time between being on all these platforms and then also having time to create music?
I'm very hungry for this.
Yeah.
I'm very hungry to see TrillBans to be this big name that one day it will be. So the first things first is branding. And I took
Yep.
I took a business class in college before I dropped out. So it's just one of those things that branding is key. So what's the one thing about branding? You got to be everywhere. So, that's why I make sure I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter. I
Yep.
keep up with the TikToks. Like right
Yeah.
before this interview, I made 3 TikToks, knocked it out and posted it. And then now I'm here.
Yeah, you're funny on there. Like everybody that's watching this interview, go follow Trill Bands on TikTok, man. You funny, man. Like you definitely you're doing what a lot of artists should be doing. So it's like kind of as a producer, you're moving as like this artist entity, and it's like I'm really impressed by everything that you got going on. My question is, what keeps you motivated? Like you've hit a couple marks quickly, and it's like, so what's keeping you motivated to get better and keep improving?
With every goal I have, I'm incredibly like I'm happy, I'm grateful that I've accomplished it. But I think it's the human curse where I always want more. I want
Yeah,
more for myself. I want more for the brand.
yeah,
And I think there's two ways to see it. Want more as a greedy way, like oh you want more, you're not satisfied with what you got. But I believe I want more in like I want more for myself. I want more
yeah,
for the brand I have. I want to build this to an empire. So I believe
yeah,
like what really keeps me motivated is the next goal. So I have a Billboard 31 plaque for the top 200 right here. But I just ordered the Billboard Dirk number one.
yeah,
I want another number one. I want another number
yeah,
one. I'm about to go gold. After gold, I want to go platinum. After platinum, I want
yeah,
2 times platinum. After that, I want to go straight to diamond. I'm
yeah,
always one up in myself. And it also, me and my mentor talk about it. Shout out St. Paul. I want a Grammy. I want a
yeah,
Grammy now. Seeing the
yeah,
Grammys and everything and seeing how it is like very possible, I want a Grammy for myself. So I
yeah,
always one up myself with the goals that I have. And I'm just hungry to get there. And I like same thing. I'm moving like an artist. I'm really am because one day I want to be able to drop my own music with
yep,
features artists and show up in music videos and have build this face card. And I believe nowadays there's so many producers left and right
mm-hmm,
that the one thing that's going to really differentiate you from the next person is your name, your brand, and
yeah,
what you bring to the table. And I believe that Trill Bands, my trucker hats, my goatee and stuff, I
yeah.
hope it's going to be everywhere one day.
You have some great goals lined up, some really, really, really good things probably in the works. You mentioned a couple of the collaborators that you've already had, but if you could maybe talk about really quick, and I know it's hard for producers to pick a favorite, but if somebody wanted to check out a Trill Band's production, what would be like the first song you would send them to hear?
I think right now, just because the hype and everything about it, I think Computer Murders with Lil Durk
Hmm.
is probably like my bread and butter. Like, I believe that's like, oh, like now when I show up to a studio, like, oh, you produce for Durk, you produce Computer
Yep.
Murders. So I believe that like right now it's like my bread and butter. Like it's that like one thing that I'm gonna bring up all the time if somebody does ask what I've worked on. So Computer Murders for sure. Cause I believe that loop was just like, I made the melody and Touch a Train snapped on the drums. Shout out him for making the whole play. But it's just one of those things where I believe that, that's the one thing I will bring up all the time. But besides that, it's going to be the Hot Boy stuff. I produced for
Hmm.
Hot Boy for about like 3 years now, and I produce a lot of the stuff. We have a lot of things on the way, but they don't know. The one that just came out on his latest project, out with the intro Dream, I produced that. So I believe a lot of the Hot Boy stuff besides the Dirk one, but the Dirk is like the main thing I'll bring up.
Yes, you just said two really important things, right? To sum it up, a lot of people don't believe it till they see it. So you get an artist like Dirk, who's one of the biggest, most consistent artists in the game, on one of your productions. It's like now people see what the potential and the possibilities are. And the second thing is that it was a collaborative effort. And the fact that you have a mentor management kind of situation, it's like teamwork really does make the dream work. The common purpose is to win. So I think it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that you kind of came from the world of sports into music, because you kind of understand that community and competition could be like interlaced. We can compete with each other, but at the end of the day, the goal is to win. And whoever wins, we should big that person up or that team up. I want to talk for a second about some of the other artists you've worked with. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida. So I'm actually not too far from where Hot Boy is. And he's literally like, I'd venture to say like top three, top five, maybe top three artists here in Florida right now.
Mhm.
Super talented, incredibly underrated on a nationwide scale, but yet is really building a fan base. Maybe you could talk about how you linked up with Hot Boy and how y'all guys like found that chemistry and started cooking up like y'all did.
First things first, shout out my boy Brian Barone. He's my homie from here from San Diego, California. But basically, he's like my A&R. He always tells me about the next upcoming artists and
Yep.
everything, right? And at the time, he saw that my beats were getting to the point where they're ready, like for like anybody to hear. So, in all honesty, from there, my friend told me, "Hey, you should check out this man." This was January of 2020.
Mhm.
He was like, "Hey, you should check out Hot Boy," and I was like, "Okay, let me check him out." I checked him out online, and he's like, "Send me beats to this email, blah blah blah." And I was like, "You know what? Let me send a pack." After that, he hopped on. He texted me back, "Hey, we got one." I was like, "Bet." He's like, "Send me more." I'm like, "I got you." From there, I just kept
Mhm.
sending him over the internet, and then I got my manager during the time, and then a lot of songs came out like "Sick of Cell," "Rock Out," "They Don't Know," which is my biggest song with him. A
Mhm.
lot of the songs came out through there, and then at one point, I was like, "You know what? I gotta link up with him." So my manager was like, "Fly out to Florida." So I flew out to Miami,
Mhm.
stayed there for a couple of days, and I linked up with Hot Boy in the studio, and we made a couple of songs. And it's just one of those things where I found him at 40,000 followers. So the thing
Yeah.
is, like nowadays, everybody like asking me, how do I get songs to Hot Boy? How do I get beats to Hot Boy? Well, the thing is, I was sending him beats when nobody was. I
Yep.
was working with him when he wasn't getting that, when he wasn't flooded.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where my shout out my friend Brian Barone for like spotting that talent for me. But you got to like look for this upcoming talents instead of shooting for the big people all the time. It's super hard to get one with like a Lil Durk or a Polo G,
Mhm.
but an upcoming talent that you have faith in and you can see going far. Me personally, I'm not the best A&R. I'm pretty bad.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, but I have a good circle of people around me
Mhm.
and my friend that's just really good at finding talent and stuff. So I just make sure that he tells me like the next upcoming artist that he believes in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yo, that was a
he's
that was a good one, man. Hot Boy, he's very talented and then humble. I know a few other producers that have worked with him, and I've heard similar type stories where it was just off the arm, you know what I mean? Just off the muscle, just good vibes and everything like that. Another artist that you mentioned already, that's a lot of other artists I talked to were like, "Oh, I want to collaborate with Babyface Ray." Like Ray really on the calm is one of the hottest artists in the country right now. Maybe you could talk about how that placement happened and how y'all got linked up.
Shout out Hood Rich King and 48. Basically, they really made the play. They're tapped in with Babyface Ray, but they've been always we always work on beats together. I was supposed to go up to LA, but I didn't have a car at the time. I was taking the bus everywhere and stuff. So I was
Yeah,
like, send you the loop, right? So I never got in the session. But now I got a car and stuff. Dirt money bought a car. So made
yeah.
sure that I'm able to like to go everywhere, right? But I just sent them the loop, and they made the play, they made the drums, and they slid it the Bayface Ray, and they told me that we have a couple more on the way, and now
Mm,
and it got added to the project, and I'm happy to be part of Face. I get the Billboard plaque right here and stuff.
yeah.
So it's I'm eternally grateful, but they really made the play. But 48, I started working with them back in 2020,
Mm,
midway of 2020, and the beat barely got placed this year in 2022. So it's been a relationship, but it's been a beat in the making for a while now.
yeah. I'm glad it's out. People could tune in. New music from Babyface Ray waving like, yo, he's primed for like a big 2022, big 2023. Like, watch out for more Babyface Ray. Yo, you got a sound with these artists that you're cooking up with that's like, it's not just for the streets, it's for the clubs, it's for the shows. Like, you got some I, like, I just say quality music. You know what I mean? And shout out to your team for helping you to like link your sound with artists that have really good sound. One artist that I love that's on your credit list, I love Rilo Rodriguez. Yo, just like he's got a sound. Him and No Cap and Clever, I'd say, are like three artists all came out around the same time that just had this really, like you said, dark but melodic. which is,
Mhm.
I guess, kind of like your vibe. You know what I mean? So maybe you could talk about how you linked up with Rilo, who's definitely a dope artist on the come up.
Shout out Hot Boy. He made that happen. Basically,
Mm,
I produced for Hot Boy and he got Riley Rodriguez on the track. It was a Sick of Cell that came out, I believe, 2020, March, no, April of 2020.
mhm.
And basically, I believe it was the time where Hot Boy was looking for features to elevate to his next career. And what better feature was Riley Rodriguez? Because I co-produced it with Seth Got the Waves, and Seth Got the Waves
Oh,
have
wow, yeah.
already previously worked with Rilo. So it's just like it was a perfect storm.
Yeah, shout out to Chef Got the Waves, one of the hottest producers out, no doubt. But let's talk about the big ones really quick, man. You got on your credit list, you got Young Thug, and then of course Little Dirk. Maybe you could just like, instead of separately, just talk about what it's like transitioning from working with artists on the come up to working with artists that are like major and established.
Shoot, I believe like for me, it hasn't really sunk in. I still
Mm,
see myself as the same producer when I started, with my
yeah.
HP Latitude and stuff, right? But the thing is, I see it around me. I see how people treat me. I see how people want to work with me now. I
Mm,
see when my beat sales are increasing. I
yep.
believe like if for me personally, it hasn't sunk in the whole like major placements and the low Dirk and everything and being a Billboard producer now. But I can see everybody else changing, and
Yeah.
like not switching up necessarily, but just, oh
Yeah.
shoot, you're not just the hot boy producer, you're a little dirt producer now. It takes it to another level and it takes the brand to not just, TrillBans, the hot boy producer, the Bayface producer, he said little dirt producer. So I believe that for everybody around me and like, people that want to work with me, I believe it changes to a next level. I'm about to
Yeah,
go gold
definitely.
soon for the 7220 album. So it's going to be very exciting when that happens. And I order that gold plaque. Those two major placements took me to this next level of the career where I'm getting interviews, where I feel like qualified, to be able to talk about like my past, like um my work and stuff. So I believe
Mm,
it's a blessing for real, bro. I gotta thank God for making these things happen,
yeah. Yeah.
the position I am today, it's all by the grace of God. God really made
Yeah.
this stuff. I really remember like praying for one day I get a Billboard plaque and I have one right here in front of my face.
Crazy,
I
right?
remember I remember praying on the bus, I get one with Dirk, we get one on the 722 album to 7220 album. And it didn't happen the first time, but next thing you know, I get a text message. Hey, we got one Dirk. He wants to add it to
Yeah.
the album wait, on the deluxe. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shoot. So I'm be honest, God works in crazy ways, but he works, and all I
Yeah.
had was this blind faith. I just had this blind faith that shit was gonna happen, and for the grace of God, it did.
Yeah, it's like they say that like success is like talent meets opportunity, but I think that the element of dedication and faith really a
Mhm.
big part of it. Like you gotta want it almost more than anybody else, but not be thirsty. Like you gotta be hungry but not thirsty. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
yeah, because people don't. It's like music too. Music is it's not just subjective, but it's political. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you brought up your faith because I think it's really important to manifest your destiny and to use the power of prayer to like manifest these things. I salute you for your faith, man, and big up everything you got going on. So we're talking about prayer, we're talking about manifestation. Yo, if there's one artist in the game right now you could work with, who would it be? Like if somebody was about to knock on that door right now, who would you want to most cook up with?
In all honesty, man, I want to work with Bad Bunny.
I'm praying for that. I'm gonna manifest that placement for you, man. Like, and
Thank you,
how
bro.
about
Thank you, bro.
like those kind of beats? Like, have you been making like Latinx type beats? You kind of getting
Oh,
that bag?
I've been really getting into it in the last couple months just because like I believe like I love the trap, I love the melodic, but I was like I want to get in a different bag, and
Yeah,
I'm from San Diego, California. We're right next to TJ, we're right next to Mexico. So trust me when I say that all my friends and everybody I know listens to Bad Bunny. So when I was like
yeah,
in the car, my friend played, I was like, you know what, let me try to make a tight beat like this. And I have, and I've been making these reggaeton melodies that sometimes I put out on TikTok, sometimes I put out for people to listen, but I'm trying to get one with Bad Bunny for sure.
So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have coming in that lane for all the producers and engineers. So you talked about FL Studio. Is that the main software or the only software you use?
Yeah, it's the only software I use, to be honest. It's just like I've been doing it for 3 years, so I believe I
Yeah.
like not incredibly mastered it, but I'm really comfortable with FL Studio.
And that's the thing about FL that I love is the software itself keeps getting better. They keep
It just keeps
improving.
upgrading.
Yeah, so it's like we're growing with it as a production community. I mean, I've been using it since it was Fruity Loops. You know what I mean? I'm old school. Like I was really on Fruity Loops making like Neptunes type beats. You know what I mean? Back in the day. But everybody has their secret weapons. I don't know if you want to get into it, but maybe just talk about some of the VSTs that you use.
I use all like the run of the mill, Keyscape, Omnisphere. I really like Omnisphere. I use it all the time. I believe that, people say it's overrated, but I'm like, you gotta like play with the sounds, you can't just use the presets. You gotta go switch out the synthesizer, switch out more reverb, less reverb, all within Omnisphere. So I think you gotta play with it, experiment, have fun with it. And I have like, I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot like the Valhalla reverb and shimmer, because those just are like the best reverbs, I believe. Um, and then, I really like RC20.
Yep.
VST wise, like I have the whole thing expand. I have the whole Arteria collection. I just bought it because I know
Yeah, it's
Tiny really
fire.
likes it. I get Arteria collection. So I'm really, getting into like those analog on my software because I just
Yeah.
don't have space for IO pianos or the money. But it's just one of those things where a lot of those plugins, VSTs. But I'm not gonna lie to you, with a Dirk melody, man. I'm not like I'll say you guys right now. I made the whole thing with one shots, and the
Mm,
piano was the 313 Detroit VST, that ad that you get all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah. Shout out to one shots. It's like if you know what key the shot is in and you lay it on your sampler, like you can make anything out of it. Like, yo, shout out to all these producers that's getting back into the one shot game. That's to me, that's old school. That's like sampling. You know what I'm saying? That's how we made music back in the day, you know?
No, I barely realized that one shot's been around for a minute. Like, I saw like the Soldier Boy, how he created the beat, and it was the one shot, and I was like, whoa, it's been a minute. I thought it was like creating a sound, but no, it's been something that's been around, but I'm just now
Yeah.
learning about it.
Yeah, shout out to Soldier Boy. Yo, I honestly got to give Soldier Boy so much credit. He was really instrumental in the last 15 years of blurring the lines between an artist and a producer. Somebody who makes their own beats and also is an artist. Is that something we'll ever see from you? Are you ever going to get on the microphone? Like what's or
I was thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think probably down the line, or if I have a beat that I really, really want to keep for myself, I'll probably, spit a
yeah.
couple 16 bars here, but I gotta think about it. But I think the next thing I want to do is just be like a musical artist, but have features.
I love being in the studio with the artists and helping them to make the songs to be the best they could be.
Hey, I respect that heavy. I just started getting into engineering as a side gig to make
Yeah.
a livable, because right now I live on my own off this music shit. It's just one of those things where like I'm in the like room and I'm recording the artist and they ask me for advice. I tell them straight up, what I believe, because
Yep.
I believe us as producers, we're also, and even as engineer too, but producers as well. We know what a record needs to sound
Yeah.
like. We know
Yeah.
where direction they should take it. So, we're like the best people to give that advice,
Yeah.
because your friends are going to give them advice. People are going to give them advice. But in all honesty, an engineer and a producer that are in the room sonically know what
Yeah.
the next level of this, or what
Yeah.
next direction of the song should take. So, I believe.
And then not just musically, but business wise. Like, we end up becoming almost like a life coach for these artists. There's definitely like a role that the producers and engineers play for the artists outside of music. It's like there's always a deeper story to tell behind the scenes, always.
No, 100%, 100%. I agree. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of these artists that I work with, they don't know the business. They don't know what a
Mm.
lease is. They don't know what an exclusive. They don't know what happens when your song blows up and the label contacts you, and they don't know what a 360 deal looks
Yeah,
like. So I tell these artists all the time, just watch out, get a lawyer. But
yeah,
I explain to them what these things are, and leases are, and exclusives, and a 360 deal, how the label gets you, stuff like that. Because the artists need to know. I At the end of the day, it's a business, 100%. But I'm still human too, and I like telling people knowledge. And I'm never
yeah,
stingy with the knowledge. All the
yeah,
because I've done my research. I read books. I made sure that when I get into this music game and I get to the position I am today, I know what a deal is. I know what my producer agreement. I know my royalties, my masters, my
hmm,
publishing, admin deal. I make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I even tell someone. I
yeah,
believe I'm in a position where I could tell you what the knowledge is, but also I could back it up because I'm
yeah,
TrillBans, this Billboard producer, blah blah. And
yeah.
I had a friend ask me, how do I order a plaque? I'm like, oh, I got you, bro. I'll show you exactly how to order a plaque, because
Yo,
I had
hold
that
on, real
same
quick,
question too.
real quick. A lot of artists don't believe me, but you got to tell them, man, it's not like they just send you the plaque. It's not like you go gold and that John shows up on your front door the next day. So let's just get into this to a second. How do you actually get a plaque on your wall?
All right. To be able to get a plaque on your wall, you have to be like, as an artist, obviously it's your project, but let's say for a producer engineer standpoint as well, you have to be a part of the project, and it has to be like proven, what I mean? Like label, you got to be on the split sheet, you got to be on the
Yep.
credits, you got to be on the discography, all that stuff. Once that's proven and project gets on Billboard, it goes gold, it goes platinum, you talk to a third party distributor that creates these plaques. So there's different like distributors, but the most famous one that everybody knows, and I got my plaque from Jewelbox.
Yep.
Um, and Jewelbox is just the most famous one. I believe they're most professional because the lady was super helpful when I had so many questions, and I bugged her every day. Hey, there's a plaque on the way. Is the plaque on the way? And I was bugging her nonstop, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's coming, it's coming." And basically, first things first, they actually when you send your contact form, your order form to for whatever plaque that you want to get. So I said Babyface Ray Billboard plaque because it went 31 to top 200. They send a label request form to the label to prove that you actually been on it. So I can't order a platinum plaque for the Lil Baby project I was never a part of. I have to actually they have to prove it. Once they get that label approved, that could take a while. That could take a while. Bayface Ray happened in the instant because I believe he's independent, just distributing through
Yeah,
Empire.
yeah.
So that his manager was on top of it and he got me approved. So after they got it approved, from there you choose what plaque you want. This one, the one with two charts, the sideways one, all that stuff at different price points. They do cost money. That's the one thing people don't realize. They
That yo,
cost money.
that's the bottom line I was trying to get you to say is that
Oh shit.
you gotta buy it. Like, yo, they don't just send it to you. It's not how it works. Like, salute to you for learning the ropes. But it's worth it because then people walk into your studio and they see, and it's definitely something that when you have that hanging up in your studio and people see that, then they know what time it is. You know what I mean?
They are expensive, but the way that I saw it is like I paid it off with the advance money and the royalties
Mhm.
that I got off the song.
Yep.
I made sure that I put it. I was like, might as well get the plaque, and also I always like been like I love the idea of like a plaque, like when you see Straight Out Compton and just like gold plaques on the record like walls, on the movie, and
Yeah.
like whenever I've been in studios and there's a Billboard plaque right there, I'm like, dang man, that's crazy. That's a platinum plaque. That's a gold plaque. That's a Billboard plaque. Like
It's crazy.
nobody, not anybody could just get this. So to be able to say I have a Billboard plaque on my wall, with my
Mhm.
name on it and everything, it's just it's a trophy for me that I'm proud to like even have be able to purchase, and
Yeah.
just one day I'm gonna be able to fill all these walls up with like my own plaques, my own name on it.
It really adds up. Once the ball starts rolling, it doesn't ever stop. You know what I mean? One other question I had, right? You have one page on your BeatStars that's services. So it's like collab, mixing. I think that's really admirable that you like set yourself apart from just a beat maker or a producer that's selling beats by offering professional services. What inspired you to go that route? And in your career going forward, how do you see yourself balancing from just production and professional services?
I hope it doesn't sound as bad as like I'm not trying to make it seem, but like the money, I'm trying to make a living off this, and I
Yep.
want multiple sources beside the royalties, beside the advances, and beside BeatStars, like selling beats. So I wanted to offer that service, and also I get to the point where a lot of people want one-on-one help, and trust me, I do, but I'm in a position where I'm too busy. I'm
Mm,
too busy to help you one-on-one because I got to work on my own career,
yeah,
and I
absolutely.
feel bad. I feel bad at times because I like trust me, like I know like the knowledge I could give you could help you out, but like I'm like busy with my own stuff. So I want to able to offer these services for anybody that wants to learn from me, but like pay for my time. So I'm
Yeah.
not like I'm not wasting my time. You're paying for my time, so I want to make sure that I can offer that for people, and I do consultations,
Yep.
networking, and I'm not stingy with it. I literally tell you everything that I've done, how I did it, and where I got it. When I do the beat making 101 classes, which is a consultation of how you make a beat or a melody, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you my FLP. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna hide it from you. And also you get like a drum kit on top of it and stuff like that. And beat mixing,
That's dope.
the collabs. I charge collabs just because it got to a certain degree where like I'm not gonna lie, producers do not hide it well when they say they want to collab, but they truly just want a placement at the
No,
end of
I
the
mean,
day.
how many DMs do you get every day that says, yo, bro?
Bro, it's not even funny anymore.
Because you know what's coming after the yo bro, because you never met this person. They ain't your bro. So that yo bro is gonna come with an ask. It's gonna come with somebody who wants you to do a favor. You know what I mean? And I started to realize, right, as I've gotten into it, that yo bro, that person hitting you up, they're a fan. That's somebody who like checked you out and is a fan of what you're doing. And I'm sure, like as you said, you're starting to get more and more yo bros. I call they're fans. I call them yo bros, but they're fans. So it's like the fact that you're providing these services for those kind of people is really, I mean, it's very forward thinking. Like you're definitely for your age, you're thinking ahead of your time.
Yeah, there's a lot more things I'm thinking about, like of adding, on the surfaces
Yeah.
part. Like I just added like beat mixing, just in case
Mhm.
like you really like want to know like what a professional beat sounds like in the sense of
Yeah.
like what I could offer that. I'll offer that. The consultations I really like. Like somebody was telling me I should sell courses, but in all honesty, maybe if I'm really, really big and I'm so busy that I can't do courses at all, like for even a certain amount of I'll probably do courses. But as of right now, I want to do one-on-one. I want to be able to
Yeah.
tell you straight up.
Definitely from what I've seen from you, you're somebody that's like a role model in that category. Like a young creator can look at your deck, if you will, can look at everything you're doing and really learn from it. So I really like respect what you have going on. And I really appreciate you taking this time today. I just got like one or two more questions if that's cool. One thing that I always ask people is either what's some like really good advice you could give, or what's some really good advice that was given to you that helped you to like get to where you are in the game right now?
It's still run in the mill, work hard,
Yeah.
stay patient. You know what I mean? Trust me, there's times where I'm not even a patient person. I'm very impatient, but I realized the things that I'm asking for, like a Billboard plaque and the song with Dirk and all these stuff that I always wanted that I'm getting now, I had to be patient. It's so big that not nobody in my city got a song with Dirk. So it's like, who do I think I am? I gotta be patient for this. So you gotta be patient, you gotta work hard, you gotta network, you gotta realize that this music is 90% business and 10% music. So you gotta really make sure that you got your brand, you got your name,
Hmm.
you're out there, you're on every platform, you're creating content for people. And to separate yourself and look for these upcoming talents, don't shoot for the big dogs. Like
Yep.
there's people that tell me I want a song with Dirk. I'm like, dude, I started with Hot Boy. I started with
Yeah.
smaller rappers. Boom, I went to Babyface Ray. I went up. Even in person studios, I started with this artist. Now he's like a lot more bigger. But at the time, he had 5,000 followers, and his name's Y2B Trench. Started with him. A couple hours later, I went straight to Hot Boy, and that
Yeah.
was in
Trent,
person.
yo, Trench is fire too. I'm tapped into what Trench got going on. That's
No, Trench
crazy.
is fire. I met him at 5,000 followers, and he was
Mhm.
small. Like when I met him, I didn't even know he was a rapper because like most rappers have chains and stuff. He didn't have a chain at the time, so he's such a good person though. Like I fuck with him heavy. But like, yeah, I went from him and I went straight to Hot Boy. So like, progress. You know, work hard, stay patient. And have faith that you're gonna make it right. The only reason I got this part of my career is by the grace of God, bro. I've been praying
Yeah.
for everything in my life, and all of this is happening, and it's just one of those things that my friend told me. He was like, hey, you should read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's about business,
Yeah.
right? I told him I'm not going to read it. I told him that, and he was like, why, bro? I was like, it's just the aisle that I'm in, this music business and stuff. There's no like step-by-step guide to be this big music producer that I want to be. There really
Yeah.
isn't. It's a lot of blind faith. And I really worked, I read books on my faith. Steve Harvey, Think Like a Success. Tyler Perry, Hire is Waiting, bro. Because the
Yeah.
thing that I want, this Billboard platinum producer, everything I want is something that like nobody in my city really doing. Nobody in my city even got a Billboard plaque in the room.
Mm.
So like, who am I to be like, oh, I want to have a Billboard plaque in my room? I had to
Yeah.
work my faith, bro. I really had to make sure that I have built this relationship with God, and I pray every day. And I'm not gonna lie to you, digital. Every time I end my prayers, I end it with God. If you put me in a position where I'm blessed with everything that I've been asking for, and they ask me in an interview, how do you do it, TrillBans? How do you become this Billboard producer? I'm gonna tell everyone it was you.
Yeah.
So this is me telling you that it was him, bro. I'm a living example of
Hey,
God could
hey,
do for
won't he do it? You know what I mean? Crazy. You know,
Hey,
it's funny because a lot of what you just said is like things that I've gone through, and I've learned how to be more patient and how to pray more properly. Because it's like you have to figure out a way to be patient in a business that's so crazy and so cutthroat. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a lot of stuff doesn't really have to do with you. There's a lot of political things that go on in the music business, and I always say it's not personal, it's business. You know what I mean? If something bad happens, like okay, it's business. So you feel me? Like I've tried to just like keep it pushing, you know what I mean? And that's the best advice I could give is just keep going, you know what I mean?
like in all honesty, there's so many like setbacks in my career that happened. Like I went from going to Miami working with Hot Boy in studio, and 2 weeks later I'm broke and I'm working at Subway
Yeah,
making motherfucker sandwiches.
yeah, I feel
And
you.
I'm like, damn, bro, like my whole ego is crushed. Like I'm TrillBans making sandwiches at Subway.
And my folks have been telling me to quit since I was your age, so definitely don't listen to what anybody else got to say, man. You good. If you're in the game, you're in the game. I know so many artists and producers that think that they're too good to like go grind it out on the business side of things. And that's really how I've made some of the best connections of my life, you know what I mean?
Well, I'll be honest with you, bro. After that, I got a job at Target, and in all honesty, bro, I just put in my 2 weeks at Target. because of Dirk shit and because I'm making a good amount of money off the music, but I'm also engineering full time at the studio
Yeah.
Wavy Sound out here in Santee. Shout out Marvin for giving me the job, Marvin Beats. And now I quit my job and now I'm doing this music shit full time. So
Yeah.
it's all honesty with you. 100% I believe that, you know, you got to take these leaps of faith, you know, and
Yeah.
whenever any setback happens to any producers listening, bro, you cannot quit. I'm telling you right now, I got cut from the Roddy Rich album 3 or 4 months ago.
Mm.
And the day after I made that, I made the computer murders melody.
See, there you go. You just keep pushing. That's the only thing we can do.
That's all you could do. Don't ever stop. That's literally to everybody to listen to this. Because I'm telling you right now, the second you stop, that's when you truly have failed. You don't fail
Yeah.
when you failed. You fail when you quit. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and slow motion is always better than no motion. I tell people in music that all the time, man. Like, just don't waste your talent. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to you, but if you're out there and you produce or you do music and you're talented, like, you got to find a way to even whatever, just exploit your own talents. You know, whether it's just getting on to Twitch and cooking up, you know, a couple days a week, or getting on the BeatStars and loading up your store a little bit more. Like, there's always more we could be doing for ourselves to help the grace of God to move through our lives. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
don't
sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, it's like hard work and loyalty go a very, very long way in this game. There's no doubt about it.
100%. 100%. I'll be honest with you. It's just one of those things that, you know, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You know, I have these
Amen.
scriptures I read to myself. You know, because it's hard. It's hard. This dream that we all have, like being like a popping music producer, popping rapper. It's so far fetched and so out of this world. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I've always been a dreamer, bro, and I've always been a believer that, you know, anything can happen. You know.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you ever heard the quote from Theodore Herzl, but he said, "If you will it, it is no dream."
Damn. Damn.
It's a banger. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So, all right. So, just before we go, what's next? Is there anything you can give up? Like, what any exclusive news? Like, what do you have in the pipe for 2022? Like, what's coming between now and the end of the year that you can
Well,
speak on? Because I know the game is tight-lipped.
hey, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of things on the way. A lot of songs with big artists. You know, a lot more things with Hot Boy.
Hmm.
A lot of things with bigger artists that, you know, we're waiting on. Like I'm working on my idol. I have my idol on my phone number right now. It's such a huge producer that I'm working with that
That's
I
dope.
can't speak on, but like it's so
That's all
crazy. And
good.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that. I just signed my first admin deal.
Nice.
Right now I'm
Nice.
working with Create Music Group. Shout out the group out there.
Nice.
Shout out Carl for making it happen. Um, Crazy because I used to dream about the day that I signed my admin deal. And yesterday I was on my lunch break at Target and I signed it right there. And I was like, damn, you know,
Ooh, that's crazy.
it feels good like
Oh
putting my
yeah.
2 weeks and I'm really doing it. So I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I'm internally grateful. A lot more stuff on the way in the sense of a lot of songs coming out with bigger artists. And it's just one of those things where, you know, we'll see where this takes me. But, you know, thank God for everything. And I'm gonna tell you right now that, you know, to all the producers out there, you know, if you like really want to become successful in this, right? And you really want shit to happen, you know, you gotta have faith in it and you can't get off Faith Street. You know, I'll be honest with you. Whenever you pray for something, God gonna deliver it. But
Yeah.
he doesn't tell you when it's gonna come. You have to
Oh
wait for it.
man, yeah, you
And then he
gotta you gotta have faith. You have to.
you have to have faith and wait. Like that's like the simplest way I could do it. And if you're not willing to wait and you're gonna leave Faith Street and go to I don't believe it Boulevard, then he's not gonna deliver then.
Now, my whole thing is you keep the faith, but you keep it pushing. Like, you know, I'll never be the producer that's waiting on a placement. Like, I'm gonna go get another one
Oh
while I'm waiting for this one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna show y'all that y'all gonna
yeah.
respect what I do. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I feel that.
Yo,
Damn.
so for Hip Hop Since 1987, Trill Bands, man, thank you so much. Like, this is really a dope interview. Big blessings coming your way. I already know, man. You put in the work, and now you're gonna get, you know what I mean? Prayers go up, blessings come down. You already know what it is. And we out, man. Peace.